Sooner Nation. Welcome to the SEC, and your first test is one to break a tiebreaker against the Temple Owls. Who comes out on top? Let's be real. Who comes out with the better performance moving forward? What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into SEC Unfiltered pregame show. He's Dave Shumate. I'm Cole Thompson, coming to you live, breaking down everything you need to know heading into Week 1's matchup as the Temple Owls travel down to Norman, Oklahoma to take on the Sooners. Make sure that you download the podcast version of the show wherever you get your podcast listening systems. Follow us on social media at Mock10 Sports, at Mr. Cole Thompson. Follow us on our social channels globally at SEC Unfiltered, because we're talking college football every single day leading up to Week 1. And to catch out all the number one source for your SEC coverage, visit SECUnfiltered.com. This episode is brought to you by SeatGeek. Use promo code SECU for $20 off your first purchase. Everyone knows you'll want to be able to spend a fun Saturday night inside the halls of Oklahoma Stadium. So make sure that you do so with SeatGeek.com, promo code SECU for $20 off. Dave, this is a testament game, in my opinion, for Oklahoma, because all we have heard throughout the offseason from multiple people on this channel, who I won't name, but I was not a part of that group, from multiple people globally, I was not a part of that group, from people who have completely thrown Oklahoma to the wayside, I was not a part of that group, Sooner Nation. Let's just go back and say that. This is a statement game because for everyone in the SEC, they need to know that Jackson Dart has not only arrived, but this offensive line is better than expected.
Yeah, no, I'm actually fired up. I trust the defense. I think the defense has the least amount of question marks of anyone going into the league. I mean, you like all three levels. They bring in Zach Alley, the new DC coming over from Jacksonville State, was a GA for Brent Venables, essentially kind of like a Kirby Smart, Glenn Schumann, similar type relationship. They had a gap a little bit between when they were with each other, but still, I really want to see, even going back to the scrimmages we've seen so far for Oklahoma and fall camp, the turnovers. I want to see Jackson Arnold limit the turnovers a little bit here from this perspective from Oklahoma going in. I think they're going to be able to do what they want. Again, they have a massive advantage at all skill positions, so they'll be able to do what they want, but let's go put up a 2 spot. You can handle one interception. You can handle one turnover in your first start at a university like Oklahoma. You're a big-time quarterback. You're excited. You want to have that little gunslinger mentality. You want to get after it. I get it. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt for one interception. But let's trim that down a little bit. The last 2 games, for counting the scrimmage, again, we don't know the script. We don't know the kind of the context of everything. But you've had 2 or more interceptions in both scrimmages. So going back to the last 2 times I've kept up with you in your 2 starts. So I want to see that limited. I want to see that limited. Again, I'm not trying to bash the old Owls here and Stan Drayton, but they're not a very good football team. They're probably going to finish last in the American. Oklahoma should come out and do what they want against them. But I think let's limit the turnovers is what something I'd want to see.
You know, I want to see that home run ball, because if I know what that arm strength is, I know that there is an Uncle Rico 2.0 residing in the backfield of Norman, Oklahoma, and that he has that gunslinger mentality that is not afraid to want to cork one. And honestly, I want to see it because I want the rest of the SEC to know, oh, crap, we cannot let this guy have that shot. And that starts by playing Tennessee in Week 4, that comes over to Auburn in Week 5, that carries over to Alabama, Ole Miss. They're going to have to see very quickly, yeah, not only do we have burners at the wide receiver spot, but we got a dude who can reach them every single play. I want to see Deion Burks, plain simple. They brought him on in from Purdue. There was a reason for that. They wanted to expand their offensive identity and their passing attack downfield. He is a guy that I think a lot of people have bought and stock into in Norman and around the program. He's a dude that I'm going to say right now, I will not be shocked to see finish as an all-SEC wide receiver in year 1. But I also won't be shocked to see Nick Anderson do it. I won't be shocked to see Andrew Anthony do it. I won't be shocked to see Farouk do it. I won't see any of these guys be shocked to do it because of what they have at their disposal when it comes to that burner mentality. And so if I get to go ahead and watch Deion Burks kind of set the standard of what is supposed to be Sooner football, you know, you're going into a new conference, but that doesn't change the expectations or the actual glorifications about what you are. So I'm looking at this offense. I want to see that gunslinger mentality. I want to see the explosive plays. And I think that you will, but it's also the timeliness of them. How quickly you're getting the ball out. What is the defense providing for you to be able to step up? How do you set that standard and that tone to where whenever you play Houston in Week 2, then Tulane, they're already getting welcomed into the adjustments of understanding this is Oklahoma football. we're doing the same thing regardless of where we are. Defensively, we already know this is going to feature a ton of players that garner a lot of SEC all-conference interest. Some are going to be considered preseason All-American, Billy Bowman, Danny Stutzman. But who is one guy that you think may end up having a very big performance in this game that we start having to pay more attention to?
I can see people being pretty fired up about Dom Williams, the transfer they got. Everybody's pretty familiar with him, kind of, I think, with the Brian Kelly comments, but he obviously ended up going to Oklahoma. I think on the interior, that's going to be something I could see you being fired up about. Again, it's Temple. I don't think it's going to show you a whole lot. I really don't think Oklahoma's going to be challenged until the Tulane game. But I think that is something to notice on the interior. How well does Temple run on them? If you do, that's not a great sign. But I do think Dom Williams' impact is going to be big for them.
I want to see how Ethan Downs plays. Plain and simple. I think that when you look at right now the SEC, what you have at pass rusher, what's so interesting is that we've heard other teams get mentioned for guys that they brought in. You know, you talk about Princely Ewan Manley Ellen coming on over to Ole Miss. You talk about Trey Moore coming on over from UTSA to Texas. You talk about even a guy that's been around the block for a little while in James Pierce at Tennessee. But I think Ethan Downs, after what we saw last year, going into his second season underneath Brent Venables, is kind of that underrated pass rusher that doesn't garner a lot of respect. And he's been in the system for a while. So if you can bulldoze your way and get 3 sacks in this game to truly be able to set the standard about what your preseason expectations are, pressuring the quarterback consistently because they don't have E.J. Warner anymore, so they're starting fresh for the Owls. It just feels like this is a unit, this is a roster, this is an identity that probably can benefit from having a ferocious pass rush. Because I know I'm getting a linebacker. I know I'm getting in the secondary. You and I know this. When Miami is calling you, and Georgia is calling you, and LSU is calling you, and even Texas is calling you, and Nebraska is calling you, and these big-time schools are calling you, and you land Dom Williams, you don't have to wonder if this kid is good. You already know that he's pretty damn special. The question is, how quickly can he adjust to playing in this defense? For Downs, I think it's just pedal to the metal and running downhill into the backfield to get as many sacks as possible and set the stone. Let me ask you, overall thoughts of this game. We know that this is probably going to be a win. First time that these two are playing against each other since 1942. 14-7 win by the Owls over the Sooners. But it's been over...
That's one still pisses. That's one Sooner fans still have not let go.
They're not going to let that go. There will be a 90-year-old sitting in the stands going, I remember back in my days. Yep, Papa, we got you. You're going to go ahead and be pissed off. We got to get this win. Breakout player in this game. Just one guy that you think ends up having a really good performance.
Really good performance. Let's go. I'll go Gavin Sawchuk. I think
Dang it. He's still my guy.
I'm gonna go Sawchuk. I like the way he runs the football. The redshirt sophomore. Liked him out of high school. A couple other guys. I think the running backs as a whole are gonna be pretty good for Oklahoma. But I am interested to see how Gavin Sawchuk is. I think they'll be able to do what they want. Also, I think they're gonna really challenge that offensive line. Bill Bedenbaugh's crew, who we all know, everybody's talked about that's followed SEC football, knows they've lost a lot of starters on the offensive line. I think they're kind of going to go challenge those guys early and be like, hey, ball's in your court, boys. Let's go establish the line of scrimmage against the team we know we should go dominate against. I think that leads to an A plus B = C, and I think Gavin Sawchuk is that C.
I could see it. I really could. I'm going to go with an FCS player making his debut in the Big Ten. In the SEC. See, we still got to get used to that. I'm going to go ahead and give me Bauer Sharp. I think that this is going to be somebody that we talk a lot about by the season's end. When he was at Southeast Louisiana, he had a really good size. He's a converted quarterback, so he already has that intellect of what you want when it comes to having the same kind of connectivity with the quarterback. Him and Jackson Arnold, I think, could be on the same page. I think he ends up getting a couple touchdowns inside the red zone. All right, Dave, let's go ahead and call this one. We know what the score is going to be. The line is set at 41.5 going into this game. Case in point, over under in this.
Over under 41.5.
41.5.
Man, I'm gonna factor in 2 touchdowns for the defense. I'm gonna go over. I think Temple's really bad. I'm gonna go over. I mean, they've had. What you go?
I'm gonna go over too. Yeah, I'm gonna go over. I think this is a blowout game, like top to bottom. There's no questions asked. This is gonna be one of those games to where maybe we actually get a little bit too overhyped when it comes to the Sooners because of how badly they beat the living dog crap. They clip the wings of the Owls, and they're not going to fly anytime soon.
Cool, you're right. This is one of those games I could see someone being scared by the line, 41.5 giving up, but it's like Temple's bad, dude. I think Oklahoma's going to want to go out there. You're right. Oklahoma's going to get the juice, I think, after week one. Like, dang, you see what they did this week?
That's the name of the game, and guess what? It's only the start, because if we're going to keep on coming back here talking about the Sooners, yours truly thinks that they could be a playoff team, and don't be shocked if I'm going to be drinking that Kool-Aid a lot when it comes to the Jackson Arnold hype going into 2024 after this matchup. But he's Dave Shumate. I'm Cole Thompson. This has been SEC Unfiltered. Game kickoff at 6 p.m. at Gaylord Memorial Stadium in Norman. Make sure that you go ahead and get your tickets. Use promo code SECU for $20 off if you want to still buy a last-second get-around. Make sure that also you're following us on the social media channels at Mr. Cole Thompson, at Mock 10 Sports, at SEC Unfiltered. Download the podcast version of the show. That way you don't miss a single episode of SECU. And make sure you keep up with everything that we're doing found at SECUnfiltered.com. He's Dave Shumate. I'm Cole Thompson. Until next time, Booner Sooner Nation. Later.